I notice girls looking at me and noticing me and my nice, beautiful body.
Hey, what's up everyone? John here. Again, that quote you heard at the start of the episode was from our good friend Nate Pate. Now, Nathan's probably going to kill us, but we have a whole handful of hilarious Nate Pate quotes coming up for you guys at the start of every episode. Now, this week, James is actually going to be interviewing me. You're going to get to know me a little bit better, find out what my diet looks like, what my current training split is, and also what my Substack looks like. Before we start, I'd like to thank our sponsor, Athletic Edge Nutrition. You can check them out at www.aenutrition.com.
Welcome to the Ergogenic Podcast. We have a very special guest for you guys today, the one, the only, Jonathan Powell, or just John. So he is one of the co-hosts of the Ergogenic Podcast alongside me, James. So you heard a little insight about both me and John on the very first episode, our introduction episode. So in that episode, John talked a bit about himself, I talked a bit about myself, but what we want to do was to give you guys a little bit more insight into each of our lives here. So we're having John come on today to tell you a little bit about himself. So the very first thing he's opening up with actually is how he got into weightlifting. So go ahead, John, and tell us a little background on that and let our listeners know what kind of motivated you and drove you to that particular sport.
Yeah, well, James, you know the answer to this, but for all the people out there that don't, I was friends with your brother first. We used to skateboard for years, and you were in college, and you came back when you graduated, I believe, and you were big into weightlifting, and we became friends and started hanging out. And then, of course, you and your friends, if everyone in the group kind of starts weightlifting, then essentially you kind of follow the group. So I think I was 18, and I ended up joining you guys, started weightlifting, and then I switched my major to exercise physiology because that's what I loved. And here I am hosting the Ergogenic Podcast and being interviewed on it now.
So how much would you say you weighed whenever you first started off? Because I remember when we first started weightlifting, you were like for everyone listening, he was like that tall skater, mop haircut kind of guy. I don't know what it is with those guys and those kind of haircuts, but I guess that was what got the ladies for John. But how much did you weigh initially starting off, and how much do you weigh now?
Well, 5'11" or 6 foot, depending on what scale you put me on. But at the time, I weighed 155. And right now, I weigh right at 200, and the heaviest I got up to was 217 or 218. So, yeah, so that's a big difference from 155 to 220, essentially. But I felt like 220 was a little bit too big for my frame, so 200 is about my happy weight.
Okay. So with that aspect of you getting into weightlifting, what were some of the things that motivated you to lift them weights?
Yeah, well, you know that's answer, but Dragon Ball Z, that's my favorite show. For all the people that don't know Dragon Ball Z, it's the cartoon that came on, 10 years ago? So I remember watching it as a kid. The whole premise of the show is essentially to be bigger and stronger and overcome obstacles. And today, that's still my favorite show. So I would say that that's my main motivation, just trying to be big and strong like all the main characters in the show. So that's what I think about when, I'm tired, I don't feel like training. A lot of times I'll put on some of the theme music from the show on the way to the gym, and by the time I get to the gym, I'm ready to work out. So that's what helps me get through all my workouts.
So would you say that's kind of like part of your pre-workout?
It is actually.
Right there?
And actually, I even have scenes on my iPod from the show of like the good fight scenes or the good build-up parts. So I actually sit there and play the actual show when I'm driving, or at least the audio form. So because I don't want to be ticketed for watching TV and driving. But.
Yeah, that stuff's motivating as hell. I love Dragon Ball Z myself, as you know. What would you say your current training program looks like, and if I know you've had a lot of experience with different types of training programs out there, the 1 day per week body part split, upper lower body splits, 2 muscle groups a day, push-pull. Tell us what you've had the best kind of gains with and what you currently are doing.
Well, currently I am following Lyle McDonald's upper-lower power hypertrophy split. I believe we discussed that a couple episodes on episode 5. So right now, essentially Monday is my upper body strength day. Tuesday is my lower body strength day. Wednesday's off. Thursday is my upper body hypertrophy day, so the higher rep range and moderate weight. And then Friday is my lower body hypertrophy. And then normally on my off days, at least 2 days of the week, I do either the stubborn fat protocol, also from Lyle McDonald, or just brisk walking. So I try to essentially do 4 training days, 2 cardio days, I guess you could call them cardio, and then 1 completely off day.
Okay, so you said you're doing the Lyle McDonald upper and lower body split alongside the Lyle McDonald protocol?
Yes. I'm doing both.
Okay. Protocol, and then you have your off days. Okay.
Yep. And actually, the program that I like the best, I really like Lyle McDonald's Stubborn Fat Protocol. I just started doing that a couple weeks ago, but I've noticed some actual good results from it. So I like that aspect. But my favorite training split is probably a hybrid between the 1 body part per day workout and the whole upper lower. So I like the primary secondary workout, to where instead of Monday is just chest day, Monday is chest with back, but it's focused on chest the most. So let's say your first exercise would be chest, then you do something for back, then chest, back, and you end up doing 1 or 2 exercises more for chest. So it's mainly chest, secondary back. And then Tuesday would be, legs. And then Wednesday would be mainly shoulders with some arms. And then Thursday might be mainly back day with a little bit of chest. So essentially each muscle group is still getting hit twice a week, but each workout you can focus more on 1 muscle group. So that's probably my favorite overall split, the primary, secondary. But right now I'm currently, I guess you could call it the stereotypical cutting phase. So I'm reducing my calories. So I feel like that'd be a little too much volume when you're cutting, because you're supposed to reduce your volume. So that's why I'm currently doing Lyle McDonald's 4-day a week upper lower.
Okay. And with training too, you talked about your weightlifting component, your cardio component. Do you do any stretching or anything post-exercise to help out with your muscles?
Yeah, I still wish I do a little bit more stretching than I do, but I do stretch at least probably after every other workout. I stretch right afterwards if I don't forget. And then I also stretch a lot of times at night before I go to bed. I'm pretty good about that. And then also before I go to the gym, if I'm really stiff or sore, there's been mixed research on whether or not you should do static stretching prior to exercise. But for me, if I'm really sore, I can tell my muscles are really tight. For me, stretching would give me the greatest benefit before exercise. So, I would say I'm pretty good about stretching, at least average of 1 to 2 times per week or per day.
Okay. And so we talked about your weightlifting, cardio, and your stretching. So now let's focus on the opposite and looking at your nutrition. So what are your calories like right now? Total calories, fat, protein, carbs. Do you cycle them?
Yeah, most people don't believe this, but, like I told you earlier, I'm about 200 pounds. My maintenance calories would be between somewhere roughly around 4,500 calories a day is my maintenance.
Oh, shit.
Yeah, trying to bulk to where your 5,000 plus calories a day gets pretty tough. That's the point to where you're almost throwing up every meal because you're just so full. And you look at your plate of food that's only half gone and you have to eat that much more. But yeah, so my cutting calories initially were down to about 3,300, I think. But currently, actually, I've been cutting for a month and a half. So I'm right at about 3,000 per day is my cutting. And I know a lot of people, that's almost their bulking calories. But yeah, so I eat about twice the RDA for calories there most of the time.
What's your split look like for protein, fat, carbs? Would you say it's like a 40-40-20 or?
Yeah, well, you should know this because of all the Lyle stuff, but he doesn't like using percentages. So what I do, for the most part, if I'm just either at maintenance or bulking, really the only thing I count is my protein amount. Lyle recommends you should get at least 1.1 to 1.5 grams per pound of body weight. So for me, at about 200 pounds, it's at least somewhere 200 to 300 grams of protein. So I always count my protein and my calories. And really the fat and the carbs I'm not too picky about unless I'm doing a low carb or ketogenic diet. And in that case, I definitely count the carbs, try to keep them under 100 grams. And actually, for the most part, I try to get less than 50 grams, and most of which comes from essentially just my post-workout Gatorade, trying to get in my 50, 60 grams of dextrose. But when I'm doing my low carb, I really don't get in any other carbs throughout the rest of the day.
Well, what are some of your meals that you really like to take in? What are some of your favorite meals or foods that you really think are great?
Well, like I said, maintenance is at least 4,500 calories, so I like to eat. So I have a lot of favorite foods, but I mean, my diet's pretty actually plain. At least when I was in school, every morning was eggs and oatmeal. I got that from Ronnie Coleman, who just mixed eggs with oatmeal and cheese all together and essentially make it 1,000 calories.
Yeah, buddy.
Yeah. So, so I'd have 1,000 calorie breakfast with eggs and oatmeal and cheese. And then lunch, throughout the day, I'd snack on protein shakes or peanut butter sandwiches, protein bars, and then some vegetables if I had time, if I didn't have class. And then dinner every night was chicken and veggies or fish and veggies. So, yeah, essentially that's it. And then I'd have fruit throughout the day. I get those frozen berries from Walmart. And every night before bed, I drink 2 scoops of casein, or a scoop away and a scoop of casein, to kind of help prevent that catabolism at night. And yeah, so that's essentially my normal diet. My favorite food to cheat on would probably be ice cream. That green mint chocolate chip ice cream is my favorite.
That's mine too.
Yeah, but I say that's my favorite cheat meal, but really I haven't had ice cream in months. I'm normally pretty good because the way I think of it is essentially if I go to the store and I do my shopping, then I'm not going to buy the crappy foods. My diet's pretty clean. So if I don't buy it, then it's not in my fridge or it's not in my cabinet for me to be able to, I guess cheat on my diet. So, if you know that you're bad, you can't resist your temptation to, snack on your junk food or whatever, just don't buy it. And then you won't be able to cheat on your diet.
Okay, and with nutrition comes supplements. So tell us a little bit about what you're taking.
Well, this. That's probably going to be a whole episode by itself. There's so many of them. But, I take the standard pre-workout. I take Athletic Edge Nutrition's pre-surge. I also take Athletic Edge Nutrition's Intrabolic for my intra workout. Post-workout, I'd like to have a tub of casein and a tub of whey. Right now, I'm currently taking Pronom for my whey protein by Controlled Labs. And then multivitamin, Orange Triad by Controlled Labs. I take fish oil, of course. And actually, I've been buying the fish oil from Walmart because it comes out to be one of the cheapest. And then also take B-Rite, vitamin C, vitamin D more in the fall and winter. Not as much in the summer because I've been trying to get a tan lately. So I feel like I don't need to supplement with vitamin D right now. And then a lot of other things here and there. Every now and then I'll take some test boosters, every couple months maybe, and then some fat burners to help me. Currently I just finished a bottle of Live by Athletic Edge Nutrition. And actually, that's probably one of my favorite fat burners I've tried. I noticed a huge difference. I noticed that just throughout the day, you feel in a better mood. You don't feel run down, reducing calories, reducing carbs. Normally you feel, just a little sluggish. And with Liv, it really helped me, 30 minutes, an hour later, I'd feel great. So.
Okay. And also, too, with supplement stuff right there, what would you say is probably the most studied or best supplement someone could take then, since you've got so much experience with them?
For health benefits, I would say probably the best supplement to take would be fish oil. Actually, I was just looking in the news yesterday, and they're saying that it could be linked with prostate cancer, but I think that was a very small study. They didn't really give any of the specifics, so I doubt I doubt that one study would counteract the thousands of studies on fish oil that show all of its benefits on, your cognitive function, your memory, your cholesterol, your heart, your vision, your hair, your skin, helps you lose fat, helps you gain muscle. So essentially fish oil, it does everything. It makes you healthier, it makes you leaner, makes you stronger, and it's not very expensive. It can be. I try to get in 3 grams of combined EPA DHA per day, so that comes out to be about 10 or 11 capsules for the most part. So it can get expensive, but for all those benefits, I really think it's worth it.
Okay. Fish oil, I agree. Awesome supplement for every single person out there to take, unless you eat a tons of fish.
Yeah, I tell my parents to take it. My brother, he's 16 now. I'm going to get him to start taking it. All my friends, if they ask me what's one thing to buy, I tell them fish oil, because it helps you sleep. So if you're well rested, that'll help you in the gym. If your joints don't hurt, all that stuff. Just essentially, if you feel overall healthier, that'll help you in more ways than one. So. Okay.
And then I was gonna say your earbud kind of popped out.
Yeah, it's fine.
You're there. So. And for our listeners out there is a great resource called the Linus Pauling Institute, and they have a great webpage on omega-3s. We'll put that in the show notes for you guys, so definitely check that out. And now kind of moving on to a little bit of background about yourself, John. I want to ask you a little bit into maybe about what are some of your biggest pet peeves, either in the gym or outside of that?
Yeah, without a doubt, my biggest pet peeve is the people that have horrible form. We've talked about this time and time again, but the people doing a no bicep curl. They sit there, curl in a squat rack, of course. If you're like a skinny guy, you got to curl in a squat rack. But yeah, you sit there and you put on the Olympic barbell, 225s or 245s, and you're sitting there, you're swinging, essentially doing kind of like a back extension and a shoulder raise at the same time. You're not using your biceps at all. So that, and then the people that sit there and put on like 4 or 5 plates for squat, and they only squat down maybe like 4 inches, and then they're telling their buddies that they can squat, 5 plates. And then same with shrugs. The people that are sitting there doing shrugs with 4 or 5 plates per side, swinging. So, if you are one of those people, I don't really have anything against you, but you're probably going to hurt yourself or kill your joints, by the time you're 30, and you're not going to be able to lift anymore. Not to mention, you're essentially, kind of wasting some of your time in the gym if you're not effectively working the muscles. You're just sitting there doing motions that's not going to help you. So, really just sit there, look in the mirror, kind of leave your ego at the door. I'll sit there, James, you've worked out with me, this. If I have to, I'll drop it to where I'm, curling like a 5-pound dumbbell if I have to, to keep proper form. And I have no shame dropping the weight if I have to keep perfect form. Because the way I look at it is everyone in the gyms, if I do bad form, they're probably looking at me, kind of like shaking their head and laughing. So I would rather have perfect form and be doing half the weight. So, and so far,
I agree with that. Okay, yeah, the form thing's huge, both for safety and also too. One big one that stands out in my mind as you were talking, I was thinking about was those. I guess they're the CrossFit kipping pull-ups or whatever.
Yes.
But the ones where they're swinging, almost like doing a flip over the bar, but they're doing pull-ups. I remember seeing a link on a YouTube someone sent. They're like, "Oh, this person did 100 pull-ups." I was like, 100? I think the world record's like 40 or something. So let me see this 100 pull-up YouTube video. And it was, of course, one of those super mega swinging, almost front flip over the bar pull-ups. So, yeah, 0 pull-ups were seen that day. But
yeah, and actually, real quick before we move on, I've seen a guy before at the gym. He would sit there, he would swing for a pull-up, and then when he got to the top, he would essentially go over top of the bar and do I guess essentially like a push-up or like a bar dip, like up on top of the pull-up bar. And then when he was up there, so he's, 15 feet up in the air, he would let himself just drop. So he'd be all the way up there and he'd just drop down at the bottom to where you'd start a pull-up. And, I just was looking at him and I don't know, I couldn't believe that he could still do that motion. Like, I don't know how his shoulders could take it. So just stuff like that, it's like, that's not really helping you at all. Unless you have a contest for that specific motion or something, and, that's what you're being tested on, then I would not do it, so.
yeah, same thing with those box jumps they do. There's some CrossFit thing where they do a lot of box jumps, and that's fine for someone who's intermediate or advanced in terms of training. But I've seen people get hurt doing those box jumps who are beginners who think they can get into the stuff right away. So if you're listening, take caution on a lot of that CrossFit stuff. Learn the form first. If you're going to do it in the first place, have someone who's done it for a while look at you, then move into it, because you can't just jump into that stuff.
Yeah, and actually, too, I don't know if you want me to touch on it in this interview, but I could share my story about how I hurt my back when I was squatting.
Oh, go ahead. Go ahead. I'm sure people want to hear that.
Yeah, so this was a year and a half ago. I was in the gym. I actually had just gotten into the gym with my buddy. We went to the squat rack. I was warming up. I started with 1 plate. And then, I did my set, took a minute, put on 2 plates, did my set. I was fine. Put on 3 plates. I was going to do 3 plates and maybe a 10 or 2 10s on the side. I can't remember. So I was almost at my lifting weight, put on the weight belt, and then I went to do my 3 plates warm-up set, and after the first rep, on my way up, I just felt like somebody took a knife and literally just stabbed it in my spine. And it's like they twisted it. And thank God I had the safety racks up, because my knees just buckled. I collapsed with the weight. But the safety bar stopped it. I got up, and my friend didn't really think much of it, but like I couldn't put my feet on the ground. Like any pressure through my feet, I could feel it in my spine, in my lower back, and it felt like every time I did that, somebody was twisting that knife. So essentially, I had to hold myself up, kind of like a bar dip. I had to lock my arms on the cage until the people at the gym came. They got me ice, but in the meantime, like my vision had essentially blurred all the way out. Like if you stand up too fast, you get lightheaded, your vision kind of starts to go. Basically completely gone to where it was just solid black. And then I started dripping sweat. I couldn't move. I was holding myself up. And then eventually I got to where I could put my feet on the ground. Eventually I could sit. But then I had to, after like 30 minutes, I had to walk over to the student health, and I had to wait for like an hour, hour and a half because I was a walk-in. And then the doctor looked at me and said that I pinched my nerve. So essentially she just put me on muscle relaxers, went home. I was in bed for 4 days. I could not move. I could not get out of bed. I had to get my roommates to, go to the store, make me food, get me, McDonald's or something. Missed a couple days of class. And then essentially I've not done any squats since. It's probably more of a psychological aspect, but actually a couple months after that, I pulled my back again doing deadlifts I wasn't going heavy at all. I think I would only do 25 pounds on each side. So I was doing 95 pounds just to do the movement, because I knew if I probably upped the weight, it would probably pull my back again. But I was doing them fine for months and months and months. And just one day, doing stiff-legged deadlifts, I tweaked my back again, couldn't get out of bed for a couple days. So now essentially I do no deadlifts, no stiff-legged deadlifts, no squats. So for all the people out there that think you have to do squats for big legs, I haven't done squats in almost 2 years, and all my friends will tell you that I have some of the biggest quads that they've seen. So for all the leg press fans out there.
Wow, that sounds like that hurt like hell, man. And you went to the doctor afterwards, and did they do an X-ray or anything?
Yes, actually, the chiropractor. I went to the chiropractor for a couple months afterwards. The initial 2 or 3 weeks after that, I went every day, Monday through Friday. And the chiropractor did an initial X-ray, and essentially my back's all jacked up. My lower back, like if you're looking at your spine from the side, it's supposed to be more like an S. So my lower back is straighter than it should be. Like it's more vertical, and there should be a slight curve. Same with my neck, or like my cervical area, that's supposed to be curved. It's more straight. And then also my mid back in the thoracic section, if you look at it from head on, it's curved out to the side a little bit. So essentially almost like scoliosis, but just the tiniest little bit. Yeah, so essentially the 3 main areas of my back are essentially all kind of messed up. I don't know if that's from the accident. I think he said it was like that before, and that's why. It wasn't because I was doing bad form or anything. Because like I said, I'm a big fan of perfect form. So I think I was doing my form perfect, but I just think it was my back was not meant to handle weight exceeding 300 pounds.
Okay, that sucks that happened to you. Some of our listeners, that may have happened to you before. Even with good form, sometimes things can happen, and fortunately, you don't have to do squats or deadlifts absolutely to get a good back or get good legs. Lon McDonald actually has a good article on his website on like leg press versus squats, I believe. We'll link it in our show notes here. But that goes into how leg press can be perfectly fine for leg development.
Well, yeah, and also too, because leg press, it doesn't have all that pressure on your lower back, because essentially you sit in the machine. So all the force is, essentially going throughout your legs and into your hip. You don't have, a couple 100 pounds weighing down on your back and on your spine. So that's another reason I really like leg press. I can sit there and I can go heavy if I need to on leg press, do the whole stack, but my back's fine. So.
Okay, and would you say your back, does your back hurt now when you just walk around each and every day, or is it just something you kind of have to be aware of? Or?
Yeah, it really depends. I kind of have to be aware of it. Essentially, every exercise I do in the gym, whether it's, a bicep curl, whether it's a lat pull down, whether it's leg press, essentially every exercise, I always have to make sure my back's not hurting. When I go to set up, I have to sit there and pause for a second and make sure my back's fine. Literally, I think about it at the start of every set for every workout for the past 2 years. I just really have to be conscious of it. Every now and then, it kind of gets really stiff and tight. But since my accident, I can pop my back like crazy. So normally if I just pop my back once or twice, if I do a cobra stretch, which is you lay on your belly on the floor and essentially just push up with your arms and lock your arms out. If I do that a couple times, normally my back's fine. But I still have to be conscious of it.
Okay, and all right, so let's move on now to some of your future goals. What do you plan to accomplish here, maybe during this year or next year?
Well, I think I've mentioned this a couple times throughout the show so far, but I would like to compete in a contest from the first time. I've been working out for 4 years now, but just kind of working out just to work out because I like it and, get big and strong like Dragon Ball Z. But But I would like to compete in a contest, whether it's a fitness show like our interview with Bronson Klein, or whether it's a show like Ronnie Walker, to where it's more bodybuilding. But I think my physique, by the time I get leaner and reduce my body fat a little bit, I think my physique would be better for the men's physique style contest. So I'd like to do that. I believe the set date is June, maybe, of next year, of 2014. So that gives me plenty of time to prepare, essentially a full year. So I'd like to do that. And also, by mentioning it here on the podcast, it keeps me liable for it, because, I know all the listeners out there, all my family and friends that are listening, they know that this is one of my goals. So I can't just back out of it, because everyone knows about it. So kind of like that peer pressure to perform, because they all know my goal. So I'm going to try to stick with it, see how I do. And, if the podcast is still going by then, I can share my experience with the show.
Well, the podcast will definitely be going then. You know that. Secondly, for all our listeners out there, you guys just heard John say he plans to compete next year, so you got to keep him liable. So you need to email him, email us, and be like, hey, John, how's the contest prep going? You better still be on it, so it keeps the fire to him. Make sure he does it. So you guys listening, you got to make sure he does it, okay? Don't let him slack off.
Yep. Email me what my body fat is, what my measurements are. So.
Yeah, and if you're lucky, he might send you some of those special pictures he got for you guys out there. Now, lastly, do you have any final tips for our listeners, for our ergogenic listeners?
Tips. I would probably say the biggest tip, I think that a lot of people really forget, is that, like with every aspect of working out, I know if a lot of you guys are, in the gym lifting weights, you guys are trying to get that perfect physique. And if you want to get that perfect physique, essentially you have to be perfect with everything. I know we're human, you can slack a little bit, but, a lot of people really focus on a perfect diet, or a lot of people focus on, perfect training routine. But it really is the combination of all of those. You have to be spot on with your training. You have to be spot on with your diets. You can't just buy every supplement under the sun, thinking that that's what'll get you big and strong. But, you have to work hard in the gym. You have to really push yourself. You have to really make sure you're on top of your diet, on top of your training. So, my biggest tip would be to, be honest with yourself and make sure that you are capitalizing on every aspect of the whole workout routine. Not just focusing on one specific aspect, but all of them. So that'd be my tip, is to really, make sure you're pushing yourself. Make sure you're not wasting all your time and money on gym memberships, on supplements, if, your diet's horrible or something. So.
Okay, great. And if our listeners, too, wanted maybe tip-wise, find a good resource for information, what might you recommend online?
Well, first of all, I'd recommend the Ergogenic Podcast at www.ergogenicpodcast.com. But second, I would probably refer them to Lyle McDonald's website at bodyrecomposition.com. He has a lot of great books. James, I know you've read, I think, all of them. I have.
Yeah, they're awesome.
Yeah, I have 2 of them at the moment, but I'm getting ready to buy a lot more. And he has, hundreds of articles about everything from muscle building to fat loss to research review. And then he also has training on form and all that. So I would say to check out his website at bodyrecomposition.com. And that's where I've learned a lot. And I know you have too, James. And actually, I think I've printed out every single article he has. And every single article, put them in 3-inch binders. I have 5 3-inch binders of his articles that I'm currently probably about 2/3 of the way through. So.
Okay, awesome. You guys heard that? That's a great secondary resource as well, going to bodyrecomposition.com. A lot of good articles there. He has tons of articles, tons. All right, so let's wrap this up. Do you anything last minute you want to say to our listeners?
No, I mean, really, like I said, just make sure you're pushing yourself hard. Make sure you're getting plenty of sleep, diet, training, all that stuff. Make sure you're doing all of those. Or essentially, you're kind of wasting your time and money if you're just kind of like, I guess, half-ass going at it. You have to go all the way. Mm-hmm. So, I don't know.
All right, awesome. Great insight there with that last segment, guys. So stay motivated, stay persistent. Persistence is huge, training, nutrition wise there. So thanks, John. For our listeners out there, you of course will hear more of John next week with our next episode, and some more of me as well. So thanks for listening. This wraps up our interview with John Powell of the Ergogenic Podcast. So stay tuned for next week's episode. Thanks, guys. And John, I'll let you say the last goodbye to our listeners here.
All right. Peace out.
Laters.
Hey everyone, thanks for listening. I hope you enjoyed my interview. We figured we'd give you guys this little chance to learn a little bit more about me and my insights to nutrition, training, and supplementation. And maybe next week I will interview James and let you guys learn a little bit more about him. And as always, I'd like to thank our sponsor, Athletic Edge Nutrition. You can check them out at www.aenutrition.com. And don't forget to check out our website at www.ergogenicpodcast.com. Be sure to like our Facebook page, follow us on Twitter, subscribe on iTunes, and leave us one of those all-important 5-star iTunes reviews. Also, if you have any questions for either James or I, you can email us at james@ergogenicpodcast.com or john@ergogenicpodcast.com. And if we get some good questions, maybe we'll have a Q&A session here coming up in the future. And before we go, we'd like to thank Mike Knowledge for creating this awesome intro-outro song. So take care, and we'll see you guys next week.
Get these games, gotta get these games. Boy, I gotta get these games, gotta get these games. Boy, I gotta get these games, gotta get these games. Insane for these games, nigga, no pain, no games. Boy, I gotta get these games, gotta get these games. Boy, I gotta get these games, gotta get these games. Boy, I gotta get these games, gotta get these games. Insane for these games, nigga, no pain, no games. You don't fucked up now, nigga. Diesel in the building when the waves hit the flow. Yeah, feel like I'm chillin'. No days off. What? I ain't never chillin'. Better come correct, man. I'll hit your feelings. No games, no games. Sippin' on that way. No play, no way. Yo, I'm knocking out these weights. I'm trippin'. I just took 3 scoops. I'm lifting. You know what it do. Better watch your step. Boy, I throw these weights. Don't ask me what's my set, cause you gon' wait. Whoa, what's that? Watch that form on whack. I can tell you new, bitch, cause you curl in the squad. Boy, I gotta get these games. Gotta get these games. Boy, I gotta get these games. Gotta get these games. Boy, I gotta get these games. Gotta get these games. Insane for these games, nigga. No pain, no games. Boy, I gotta get these games. Gotta get these games. Boy, I gotta get these games. Gotta get these games. Boy, I gotta get these games. Gotta get these games. Insane for these games, nigga. No pain, no games. Turn their some weight. Go and throw a plate. I make this look like cake, a bull rushing out the gate. Let them hate as I navigate to captivate, elaborate. I just pump the stakes, never pump my brakes. Best believe I'ma get these games. When everybody gone, I'm the only one remain. Maybe I'm insane, addicted to the pain. Snow, sleet, or rain, skull crushes to the brain. Just warming up, I ain't even breaking sweat. I'm killing every rep, destroying every set. You know that's a bet. A fiend for protein, I'm out for more cream. So hot, I'm smoking. So oh please, I'm out yo. Boy, I gotta get these games. Gotta get these games. Boy, I gotta get these games. Gotta get these games. Boy, I gotta get these games. Gotta get these games. Insane for these games, nigga. No pain, no games. Boy, I gotta get these games. Gotta get these games. Boy, I gotta get these games. Gotta get these games. Boy, I gotta get these games. Gotta get these games. Insane for these games, nigga. No pain, no games. Looking like a swole. 100 days straight, and I got 100 more. Even if you try, you can never break my road. First in my kind, I had to break the mold. Feeling bold off these back roads. Don't act like you don't know I'm a pro. This bench be my throne and in my zone, getting toned. I get it on my own, to be told. But the caddy it goes, there he go. Music on blast, kicking ass on my hustle, building muscle. My My job is never done. Get your weight up, cause I do this shit for fun. Niggas better run, son. Mike Diesel on the hunt. I'm dedicated, waiting on the day I can finally say I gotta get these games. Gotta get these games. Boy, I gotta get these games. Gotta get these games. Boy, I gotta get these games. Gotta get these games. Insane for these games, nigga. No pain, no games. Boy, I gotta get these games. Gotta get these games. Boy, I gotta get these games. Gotta get these games. Boy, I gotta get these games. Gotta get these games. Insane for these games, nigga. No pain, no games. Look house boss, baby. Yo, y'all lifting today? Rest day? What that mean? It's chest day, nigga. You trying to do legs tomorrow? You don't do legs. What? Forget these games, bitch.